this is Christy at the West Regional Branch of the Mobile Public Library, bringing you another hand lettering design. Let's get started. All right, for this one, you might want to carve out a little time. This is a quote by Matisse. Creativity takes courage, and it also takes time. So I went ahead and mapped everything out because this is one I really wanted to be pretty precise. So I went ahead of time, made my 1-inch margins on the side, but I only put a 1/2 inch on the top and the bottom because I really wanted a lot of real estate to work with here. And then because I wanted to be super precise, I mapped out every word. So I came up with a midline, drew that out, came up with a midline this way, and actually kind of broke the paper into thirds, all right? So we've got creativity, then takes, then courage. Now, as always, you want to just draw this with your pencil, okay? And so then we're going to come back and go over it in black. This is a really just kind of a whimsical font. It's got a lot of curly cues, and if you notice here, look, it's like a half moon. So a lot of your letters are going to look open like that. So let's go ahead and get started trying to color those, work on those. We start out with, again, our friend the Fudenosuke. And I am using the hard tip, but you can use hard or soft, whichever one seems to work best for you. Be sure to keep that little crescent moon shape as you come around. That's super important to this font. So this is actually going to be a printed font, right? So it's not script, it's not all connected. And so take your time. Don't get in a rush with this. And don't worry about if you get outside the lines. That's what being creative is about, and that's why we have erasers, right? So that you can go back and take out all those pencil marks before we color everything in. And I've done it both ways. I tried putting the color down first and then the black, and I tried doing it this way. This way seemed to be the easiest and most effective and caused the least amount of bleeding. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead, get all these letters done in black, and then let them dry, and then come back and do the colors. All right, so we've got this really unusual T. It sort of looks like a sailboat, right? When you're a kid, you're making a sailboat for class. And then with your eyes, you can make whatever kind of dot you like. Make a heart, make stars, make flowers. Just something fun, or you can keep a traditional dot. As always, just take this design and make it however you like it. You'll notice that the serifs, or the little feet on the letters, I kind of alternate. Sometimes I kind of curve them, sometimes I make them straight. Again, that just sort of adds to the whimsical effect of this. All right, let's go back and get that flower real quick. And while I wanted to be super precise about the placement, like I said, you'll notice that sometimes I get off the lines, and that's okay. All right, so in the middle, we're going for takes, and we're just doing a plain, extremely plain monoline script, which monoline just means single line, and it's sans serif, which means it doesn't have any of those little feet or anything extra. It's really, really plain, because I wanted it to contrast with all the visual interest going on above it. So it gives your eyes a break, gives it a little rest. And then courage, I went with very similar to the font above. So we're going to keep that crescent moon. It's going to be a little bit simpler because we're not going to have quite as much going on with it. But we want it to be similar because for me, both creativity and courage seemed important. So we wanted to go ahead and have those have the same amount of weight visually. All right. So keep going with these guys. Make sure you get that little curly cue on them. Again, to kind of keep it similar to the one above. Got this really funky looking G that's kind of like an old-timey typescript. And so the first part you want to be a circle. And you're going to come down with sort of a swirl to make its tail and go into an oval. So top part circle, bottom part oval. And don't worry about that little hiccup there because we're going to color it in. So it's fine. All right, and then your E. Leave a big gap there so that you can come in, put a crescent moon for that one. All right, so that is the beginning of this guy. So we are going to go ahead and clean it up and color it in. All right, so it's super important that you get all of that erased, especially on the word creativity. Because once you apply the color, if there's pencil left, it'll bleed through and there's no getting rid of it then. All right, so I'm gonna vary my colors and make sort of a little rainbow here. So since creativity has 10 letters, I went ahead and chose 5 colors. All right, so I just kind of started with a coral. Now we're going to go for a really bright orangey yellow. Got us a lime green. And so by going ahead and doing the black and then coloring it in, it gives it almost a printed look, like, you know, when you purchase something that's been printed, it gives it a really nice clean effect. And of course the colors just make it pretty. So, all right, so I went for sort of a mint green, aqua type thing there, and then a lavender. All right, so color in and try to be really, really precise with this. Think about when you were in grade school and coloring in the lines, right? That was good practice for this. All right, so we start over with our coral. And if you do get out the lines, it's not a big deal. There are some artists who actually intentionally do. They kind of color just a swatch over the black and don't worry about filling it in. So it depends on what technique you like, or you can do that and you can drop your marker on it. All right, so now we are gonna color these guys. And so there's a tip. Don't keep all the markers in your hand at one time, right? Okay. So almost to the finish line here. All right. And you can color in your flower whatever color you like. You can choose one of these or add a new one. And I think I'm just going to go for a paler pink. Pull him out. Fill that in just for a little variation. Kind of a pinky purple color. Alright, and you could leave it like this. You could leave it where courage is open. But I want to go ahead and fill it in and make it be black so that it has some more visual weight. Otherwise, it sort of disappears when it's compared to all of that. So we're going to go back and again use whichever Funosuke works for you, whether it's the soft tip or hard tip, and try to use sort of short little strokes like that. Then you can bring down your long strokes, but get it started with the little guys because you don't want to get outside those lines if you can help it. Otherwise, you'll have to do a lot of cleanup, and that's okay too. All right, we are almost at the finish line. Told you it'd take a little time to do this guy, but it's worth it in the end. All right, now I like to always put a line. You can put a fancy line, Just Google like hand lettering borders or something and you'll see there's a lot of variations, but I just like a simple plain line, and I like it better when my pen does right. There we are. Okay, and so you can put just a plain line. Then it just, again, it kind of breaks everything into thirds. And if you make a blunder like I did, you can always just take and make little dots on there to make it look like that was intentional. Alrighty, so there's a fun Henri Matisse quote. Thanks for watching and have a great day.